Symposium. This is all the minor arcana. Plus these in the center would be the Emperor and the Hierophant and Lovers and so forth and like that. This makes the most stupendous tarot card reading. You can lay it out on the floor or on a big table, and it has the whole deck. So we know we have 2s, 3s, and 4s, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the minor arcana. And then, so that's for that quarter, and then there's 2, 3, it repeats here, and it repeats here, and it repeats here. These are called the cardinal cusps, and they happen at the cardinal signs, which begin the seasons. So Aries is spring, and Cancer is summer, Libra, fall, and then Capricorn winter. Winter solstice right there. As Aries is the spring, we always begin the zodiac here, and Aries belongs here. Some people put it elsewhere, but you know, this is where it belongs because it's the beginning. This is also the ascendant. So this would be how the chart looks at the spring equinox. But also, anytime during, you know, sun goes through these all the time and they spin around, so your chart could look just like this. But usually it moves on from this particular archetypal symbol. 3s and 4s are all cardinal. Cardinal, cardinal. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Then the next thing is fixed. And remember when we were looking at the fixed signs in the corners, with the bull of Taurus would be the Ace of Pentacles when you lay it on the floor. The lion would be over here in the Ace of Wands, of fire. There's Leo the lion. And up here, this is the Scorpio risen eagle force. There it is, rising. And this would be the Aquarian fellow, the Aquarian dispensation. So the fixed signs, the cardinal are yang, and they begin things, and then the fixed are like oomph. Like, for instance, Aries sends out all these seeds and has these bright ideas, but then Taurus comes next, and she provides the ground for the seeds. And it goes on like that, and then they multiply in Gemini, in the air sign. So there's all these stories that, you know, this thing can tell. So the 5s, 6s, and 7s are all fixed. They're the yin, and the queens are on the cusp of those. The kings are the cardinal guys, the queens are on the cusps. The queens are the fixed. And then we have the knights. The knights are the 8, 9, 10s in each segment. And knights are moving, and they're called mutable. So in astrology, there's something called cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And then you have the 4 elements of fire, water, air, and earth, and together they create the 4 signs of the zodiac. It's called the permutations. You have cardinal fire, you have fixed fire, and you have mutable fire. In fact, I'll just show you those. There's the red, yellow, and blue. Those are the fire. So say that you want to do a reading, you would look at your chart and see what was you have rising. Say, for instance, let's say you got Aquarius rising. Let's say your ascendant would go through that. You would move the chart down a little so that would end up there. And then you'd stand over here. Well, first you got to put down all the cards on the floor. You know, so you put these down to represent what's called the decanates. There are 10 degrees for each sign. So there's 36 of these here. There's 10 times 3 times 12. That makes 36 of these cards here. Plus the aces, that's the 40 major, the 40 minor keys. And then we have, of course, the court cards. Oh, pages. We can't leave the pages out. In the center of any birth chart is the person who's having the chart. Like the Earth's equator is extending out into space, and as it goes out, it's called the celestial equator, and where it touches the stars, that's what your chart looks like. And the amazing thing about astrology is that there's no 2 charts ever alike. And there's only 10 planets and 12 signs, but it's just, even if you're born at the same exact time as someone else, you're born in a different place, and that's important too. Your birthplace, as well as your birth time, makes your ascendant over here, and then you take it from there. So this represents the baby that's born, or you, the person who's having the reading. And the Page of Wands, wands would be your spirit, cups would be your feelings, emotions, psyche, and soul. The swords are your air, your decision-making intellect, and your words and logic, and then the pentacles is the body, the earth. So that's who you place them at the center. And then you take your, you've got your Major Arcana cards down for the zodiac. Then you take the planetary ones and you put them down. Say, for instance, you have, I don't know, a Virgo card. You put the card right there. Something in Virgo. Say you got Mercury in Virgo, you put it in whichever one of these it would fit with. The first 10 degrees, the second 10 degrees, or the third 10 degrees. Whatever works, you know. And then you lay them all out, and then you spend a couple hours talking about it to somebody, or like tripping out on it. It's just wonderful. I have one of my first high school students, this young man, pasted this whole thing over his bed with the little, the little cards. And he used to study it on his ceiling at night. So you can tell I love this. Okay, this is the Cabala Tree of Life. This is the very, very ancient. I'm totally convinced that it comes from way beyond just Earth. This is a gift from the Masters of Wisdom of the Inner School, and they come and embody somebody like Paul Case came to give us the wisdom, but also they inspire us. If we get a really bright idea, it could very well be from a higher knowingness. And they put Saturn here, da-da-da-da. So the other planets are Jupiter goes here, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, and this would be the Earth itself. This is the order as you go out. Like first you're going to see the Moon, and then you're going to see Mercury, and then you're going to see Venus going out. And of course the Sun just has to go in the middle because this is the heart chakra. The Sun is our heart. There's 7 levels here, and so these correspond to the levels. And then there's what's called the Tetragrammaton, the Yod, He, Vav, He. And that's the name of God. It's all that ever was or is or will be. That's the name of God in Cabala. God / Des, Goddess. This is really something to think about because they keep telling us that we are that. We are that. There's no separation. All that ever was or is or will be is right embodied in us. And that's what we're waking up to through this ascension process and the Aquarian vibrations coming. People are going to be realizing we're not small and we're not lost and we're not sick and we're not stupid. We just got hypnotized. So it's dehypnotization time. Okay, so the name of God, Yod, He, Vav, He, goes like that. And it's called Father, Mother, Son, and Daughter, or Fire, Water, Air, and Earth. So this shows this whole pattern here is the Tree of Life. And I just want to talk a little bit about the elements because they're the same in Tarot and Astrology. They're the same exact Kabbalistic elements. Fire being first, when you want to draw a Tree of Life, you just draw a straight line and you put your compass anywhere. And you draw a circle, and you just draw in the world of fire, the archetypal world where everything begins. Fire is not a thing, it's an energy, it's a desire to be, it's creative life force, it's juice. And so he says, I want to create the universe. And so the mother says, okay, honey, I can do that. That's her thing. Mother creates the forms. And so in the world of patterns, it's also called the creative world. The water is so much more than your emotions, which are just really surface compared to, think about the ocean. Think about the ocean of space that everything's manifesting in. It's humongous. So Kabbalistic water is a big deal, and it's the mother, and the mother and the father are equal partners. There's a relationship like this between the father and the mother, and this is the Empress right here. Pretty sexy, you know, thing going on there. And it's like in the yin yang, they're doing a dance and they have the seed of the opposite in each other. So they're not separate at all. They're one. This is 3 in 1. This is the 3 supernals. Always, just like you see it in the Lover's card, you see it in a lot of the, like the Hierophant with the 2 guys, the Chariot with the 2 Sphinxes. That's always a reference back to the top of the tree of life. So in the world of air, which is swords, this of course is wands, and this is cups, and then the swords are the air, and that's where we decide what we really want. You know, the mother says, I can make anything. You want a chair? Well, I got, you know, gazillion types. So you say, well, you know, I want it to be this shape and this color and everything. That's our mind at work, and it's a deciding factor, and it's actually a formative tool. It's called the world of formation. So that's, and the top of the world, this is the father, mother, and then son. Top, between the 2 of them, they connect in the mother. And then those 3 embody in the earth. The earth is different because it's the vessel into which all of this divine power flows and is given and flows through and on. You know, like we're all made of atomic radiant energy, right? And it's going all over the place. And everybody in here is sharing their molecules and their atoms, you know. So Earth is not as solid as it looks either, but it's called the world of the result, the so-called physical world. Another page from the book. Here this has a tarot paths. These are the 22 paths, and they all correspond to tarot cards. And I've heard people say that tarot does not come from the Cabala, so tarot and astrology both do come from Cabala, and I'd just like to show you how the tarot does briefly here. These 16 are the court cards. These are called the invisible paths. And they would go like from there to there, that kind of thing. So those 16, that's why the pages, we need the pages to make 16. You know, and the tarot came first in the way I've been taught, and playing cards throughout the pages. They didn't seem to have any use for them. Ha! Or maybe the masters did it to kind of hide their truth. That happens too. A's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then there's 4 worlds of Cabala that you just saw. So 10 times 4 is 40, and that's the minors. And then we have 22 paths for the major arcana. So it's all there on the tree.